Welcome to a Muzzled Chat. Hope everyone had a lovely week and have amazing plans for the weekend. Well, lots to go over, so stay tuned. Guys, this is more than just connecting dots. This is going to help bring light to the actual war that is being waged against all humanity. Because we no longer can afford, I mean, think about it. Bullets are flying, missiles are flying, grenades are flying. You can't afford to tune into the NFL or your favorite show on Netflix. Like, that's just ludicrous, right? We all gotta engage. And this isn't just warfare that is impacting men overseas. It's involving our women and children. And we're bringing the receipts. We're not to fear, because united, we can end this corruption very easily. And there's a lot of momentum on our side with these free speech platforms. So we're trying to just get people in the know so we can unite, set down all the evils, polarizations, and weaponizations and divisions, become effective, and definitely stay tuned because we hone in on one of these grave threats that I don't want to say is out of our, like, it's within our control to stop, but unless we stop it, there's nothing we can do to really avoid the negative effects of it. So, like, they poison food and water. Like, there's things we can individually do to protect ourselves with filtration systems. And luckily, there's, well, for the time being, some pretty good food sources. But even that is under attack. So, anyway, lots of calls to action. Lots of things to do to protect ourselves so we can up our resilience and effectively fight back and show up and bring other people along with us. So without further ado, check out this clip. This is a heavy hitter to kick things off.
1930s, there was a law passed that the United States government shall not participate in any type of misinformation propaganda campaigns directed at its citizens.
Wow.
And in 2012, the Obama administration and the freaking Congress that sat then repealed it.
What?
It is legal for the agency, the sister agency, the FBI, and the rest of them to put out intentionally misinformation, propaganda to American citizens now.
Wow. Obama.
1930s, there was a law passed.
Come on.
The United States government shall not.
Obama changed this law to make it legal to lie to you and me, the American people. You can look it up yourself. Used to be illegal dating back to the 1930s. Surprised? All right. We got to protect our littles. There's some breaking news. Planned Parenthood is faced with a $1.8 billion federal trial for selling baby parts. Once again, it's like there's an incentive. They're incentivized. There's a whole industry behind abortion. It's very well funded because it's in their best interest to get people socially conditioned about their rights. And there's a whole evil plot and agenda there. So it's important we stand our ground and combat that very well-funded narrative. This is proof. So we gotta unite on this and stand our ground. Now, speaking about our children, Dr. McCullough delivers a message right here that all parents need to cheer. What? Am I combining words? Am I okay? All parents need to hear. This childhood vaccine schedule is not what we thought. It says, I'm telling you, in total, it doesn't look good. Let's just jump into this clip.
What we've learned is this childhood vaccine schedule is not what we thought. And now critically looking at it, we have a situation that we just learned that the World Council for Health, now international body, is calling for a complete moratorium on childhood vaccines.
Wow.
First international organization to call for that. Why? Because the vaccines are piling up one after another. They're being given in multiple salvos. There are safety events now that we learned. In 1986, the U.S. passed legislation that indemnified the manufacturers of vaccines. In that legislation, it says the vaccines have unavoidable harm. It says that. So what are the harms that we're seeing? It's clear when the vaccines are given in multiple rounds. It's probably no single vaccine and no single additive, but it's the sum total of the vaccines given at once. We're seeing a strong signal towards neuropsychiatric disorders, so attention deficit disorder, Asperger's, autism, seizures, allergic diseases, asthma, atopic dermatitis.
And even death.
Need for termination, sudden infant death syndrome. And then the converse. Now, this is the converse, which is papers by Mawson, Hooker, Miller, Thomas, and an older Amish study. All 5 studies show if children go natural, no vaccines whatsoever, they have the best outcomes. Freedom from these things. And, you know, when I was a kid, the rate of autism was 1 in 10,000. Right. Now it's 1 in 36.
Oh, my God.
And there's about 200 published manuscripts showing it's a...
You hear those stats? Why are we accepting this? I mean, the first clip we just played, our own government got rid of law to where they can lie to us, and you could see as to why, and spread actual misinformation and what they've been effective with. It's never ending. We must rule out this evil. This alone, boom. That's enough. Send this far and wide. Every parent you know. If they want to take it as an attack, like, don't tell me what to do, it's like this right here. If you, in fact, love your child, you should stop. This is enough information to stop with the childhood vaccine schedule until you do your due diligence and research. You can't just blindly entrust. Pairing these 2 clips, how they'll lie and misguide you, and then the facts on the data. It's enough.
Immune system dysregulation.
1 in 36?
1 in 36.
Yeah.
1 in 36. The immune system dysregulation that, in a reactogenic phase of the vaccine, sometimes with a febrile seizure, the inflammatory factors go into the brain, probably permanently change it. And the vignettes the mothers tell us that the child was fine up until the time they took multiple rounds of vaccines, and then they developed autism. Those vignettes are almost certainly correct. We can't pin it down to any single vaccine, but I'm telling you, in total, it doesn't look good. This epidemic of autism is a tsunami. And you know how many mothers now, recent Kaiser Family Foundation survey shows about a third of mothers and young fathers.
Unbelievable. We must send this far and wide, folks. All was done intentionally, and all the people involved in this crime must be punished. There's a couple things here. When you allow yourself to understand that the vaccine wasn't created for COVID, but COVID was created for the vaccine, then everything about this crime against humanity makes sense. That is profoundly truth. Prove it otherwise. Here's another page to this. Since we are now repeating history, let's not leave anything out. And it's a photograph of the hangings at Nuremberg, Germany. Members of the media who lied, misled the Germans, people were executed, right along with medical doctors and nurses who participated in medical experiments using living people as guinea pigs. That's why I've started calling pharmacies, trying to serve them Nuremberg paperwork, giving them dates. The majority of them are just freaking out on me. A couple of them actually are like, I know, like it's not good. Well, are you sharing that information with your patients? Yeah. Well, great. Like, we must get this off the shelves. We all, if we outcried and ramped up the pressure enough, we could get state by state by state to actually acknowledge it for what it is, a bioweapon, and have them incinerated tomorrow. But it takes all of us. We gotta, I mean, not all of us, enough of us. Okay. I had a bunch of things I wanted to say, but what was I going to say? Bear with me, folks. Okay. Well, let's just dive into this next clip. The masses are going to be severely pissed off when they finally find out what they've, in fact, injected themselves with numerous times for a lot of folks. And about time it starts hitting news stations.
It's also developing right now. Florida's Surgeon General says for us to stop getting the COVID vaccine.
Fox 35's Hannah McKenzie is joining us live in the Alert Center tonight. So, Hannah, he says, what's in the Moderna and...
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm interrupting it. My point was that I lost. There are no protections for crimes against humanity. So as much as those pharmacists may seem inconvenienced by my call or upset, what's your point? It's like, I'm doing my best to connect and be like, look, in fact, I'm calling on behalf, like, love for you. Like, you must understand, there is no immunity. You may feel protected in this moment, but think on this, like, if you infringe on any of the Nuremberg codes, there's no, like, futuristically, like, protections you will have for crimes against humanity. Knowing at this point, I mean, if you're still injecting in arms and you are not consenting and giving them, like, hey, myocarditis and, you know, turbo cancers, there's a lot of negative things like connecting, then I'm sorry, like, consider yourself served. And in a perfect world, obviously, we can't have people willing to blindly, whether it doesn't even matter their intent. It's like I can't just sit here and be ignorant, like, to shooting bullets into the air, knowing like it could come down and kill someone. But hey, I'm not directly trying to kill anyone. I enjoy doing it. Like, right? Like, if you hypothetically were to do that and it were to kill someone, I could be held liable for murder. What's the difference?
Pfizer vaccines is a problem.
Yeah, Luann, Florida Surgeon General Dr. Ladapo says he has safety concerns pertaining to the discovery of billions of DNA fragments found per dose in the Pfizer and Moderna COVID vaccines. And he says those concerns have not been addressed by the FDA or the CDC.
Surprise.
Dr. Ladapo says if the risks of DNA integration with COVID vaccines cannot be addressed, then the vaccines aren't appropriate for use in humans. He says he sent letters to the heads of the FDA and the CDC specifically questioning how this would impact humans in three main areas.
Can you see the importance of sourcing information? We can no longer trust any of those institutions. Western medicine, government, news, social media, like the simple fact, like, to this day, folks, to this day, I can't talk like this and play a lot of this data on YouTube. It's indisputable proof, and the floodgates have opened. Let's open each other's eyes and get people on the platform so they can at least have a shot of getting the truth. Safe and effective. They ramped up pressure. I mean, all the tactics from to keep your job. For frick's sakes, in certain countries, they were offering free sex. Come get your job. I mean, it's sick.
Healthy human genes being transformed into cancerous cells, chromosomal instability, and how the integration could affect unintended parts of the body, such as the heart, brain, lungs, even the injection site itself. We asked local Dr. Michael Sparks to weigh in. Dr. Sparks telling us with the state surgeon general saying one thing and the FDA another, health providers are left stuck in the middle.
Unbelievable. They tried to kill you and everyone you love. You think they are stopping there? These evil globalists. I mean, are we connecting it well enough? Are we articulating things well enough? How can we do better? Help us do better. It's like we keep addressing these things with other different snippets, trying to hone in on the level of impact to where it's like we see it and there's no ignoring 5th generation warfare, and that it's here and that we all collectively do our part. We cannot afford to idly sit by anymore. I mean, it's not even a choice. You don't have the choice with wars. Like, I guess you kind of do if you want to just get totally enslaved or killed. I'm not just going to go die in a foxhole. There are big wins, though. There's momentum. Finally, the Victoria police may be held accountable for their abuse of Victorian public during the COVID lockdowns, as Monica's court case heads to trial.
I have been waiting a really long time to tell you this. On July 23rd this year, 2024, we have a trial booked in the County Court of Victoria for 15 days. I am taking Victoria Police to trial so they can answer for all the things that they did to all of us during the world's longest and harshest and most ridiculous lockdown in the entire world. Yes. Of course, I can only use my story during my court case. However, this case is not about me. It is about all of us.
We need
it is about the pregnant woman who got arrested in her house for a social media post. It's about the old lady who got pushed down and then pepper sprayed in the face. It's for all the people who got shot with rubber bullets in the back while they were trying to run away from police at the shrine. It's for all the people who had a knock at the door at 1 a.m. in the morning from Victoria Police. It's for all the people who were kettled for 4 hours in the blistering sun with no water or bathrooms. It's for all the people that got COVID fines. It's for all the businesses who lost their business during COVID. It's for everyone who suffered at the hands of the police who were supposed to serve and protect the people, not the government. On October 31st, 2020, I was reporting on a protest as a journalist, and I was arrested 3 times in one day. The second time I was arrested, I was put in the back of a police van for 45 minutes, handcuffed. And I was crying because I realised that if my Australian brothers and sisters, the police, if they are willing to do this to me, what are they willing to do to other people? That obviously changed my life. And someone needs to be made an example of. Someone needs to be accountable. Now, I cannot guarantee that I'm going to win this case, but I can guarantee you I will never, ever take a deal to be silenced. I can go all the way
You're
because I
amazing.
have the lifestyle situation to do this. I don't have young children. I don't have much to lose. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have a job I'm going to lose. And I have the support of my family, and I have a complete trust and faith in God. And I know that I'm
Amazing.
supposed to be doing this. Also, many of you donated to my legal fundraiser while I was in prison, and that has given me the confidence and the courage to go all the way. I believe that it is my duty, one that I'm happy to do, to at least make a spectacle of anything I can. If I don't use this opportunity to publicly air the grievances that we all have against Victoria Police, I will feel guilty for the rest of my life. So I can't guarantee a win, but I can guarantee you I'm going to do my absolute best. So I do need support, but no, I'm not asking for money. Come to the court case with us. Let's do it together. If you have some I have been waiting.
Amazing. This woman has more of a spine in a wartime than the majority of American men. Boom. I said it. Oh, you want to take offense? Oh, never listen. Like, you know what? It's your choice. Go lie to the man in the mirror more and allow this to deteriorate even further. Am I asking you to essentially do everything she's doing? No. There's subtle little steps. Voting every day with your views, clicks, likes, dollar bills, sending episodes like this far and wide, supporting folks that are putting it all on the line. Gosh, am I getting a little harsh? I'm just like, enough is enough. And I'm just, every day, I'm still seeing selfish, self-serving behavior all around me. And it's just blowing my mind. It's like, you're not getting it. They tried to kill you, and they're still trying to kill you. They're trying to kill your children and condition them, separate them from you, infringe on your freedoms. Tyranny's coming more and more. Why is it we're so afraid to absorb that and be excited? Because it isn't doom and gloom. My patience as a man does get testy regarding all of this when, people ignorantly just continually serve themselves. That becomes my greatest challenge, because it's like, what you're not doing anything for the cause. In fact, maybe even going as far as to stopping progress and being a part of the problem. Not even effectively getting out of the way for people that are seeking solutions. Yeah, this one probably is a bit harsh. But gotta try to get to the bottom of things. Now, it's interesting. A lot of people are asking, who? Well, who's behind it? And we've connected the WEF and the actors there, the UN, a lot of folks, puppets in the government, obviously the people behind BlackRock, the West Central banks. But it's interesting. There's all these articles and just stating facts. And I don't know how I genuinely feel about it all, but it raises my eyebrow. And I'm not going to shy away from facts. But this here is stating, and there's been lots of sources that have gone over this same data. So I find it to be very accurate. Every single aspect of the COVID agenda is Jewish. And it states, CDC director, the name, the individual, Jewish. CDC deputy director, Jewish. CDC chief of staff, Jewish. Medical officer. You get the point. This is a very long list. And I just wonder, what is going on? Must keep like must be skeptical about everything, have critical thinking, and just continually absorb information, because it's getting to a point we really do need to clear out, like clean house. I mean, it states BlackRock and Vanguard are the two largest shareholders of both Pfizer, and Glaxo as well is practically all of the media. Be sure you could check out all this. It will be in the comment section, all the links to everything in this episode, as always. This is wild, because a lot of this information, like, it was withheld, it was banned, it was censored, it was suppressed. I can't even pronounce this gentleman's name. But this is news he broke August 23 of 2021, when the vaccine hits your body, and he just dives into it. I don't know if we can play this full clip, but let's just play this beginning bit. He's speaking in another language, so it's dubbed over.
Tell you about the COVID-19 vaccine. If you don't want to live and you want to get your whole family killed, or as early as 2020, I was telling everyone that if you want to change your wife or husband, you advise him or her to get the vaccine. Whenever you can't get along with someone, you advise them to get vaccinated. That works? It works.
Wow.
Even more exaggerated, the scientist added, what would be the side effects of the vaccination? First, it doesn't matter who you are. It can kill you in 2 or 3 years from myocardial infarction, myocarditis, cerebral thrombosis, and very quickly, cancer. He said, as soon as you get vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine that contains 40 trillion mRNA and undergoes the whole activation of the spiking protein, the cancer in your body will be infinitely amplified. Anyone with a genetic defect and a cancer gene may be checked and result in cancer in a day, a month, or 2 months. It's very scary. It's that the door is opened in the genes, and like all the bad stuff in your house is released, and it's instantaneous and it's irredeemable. Furthermore, in the future, some people are going to lose their eyesight, voices, and desires. Just give it too much. And because you're physically incapacitated, what kind of sex life you can have, right? You're not going to be able to do it. It's the whole thing that's disabling. And
sex life, that's kind of a silly point to make, but obviously an important one. But just general function altogether. And with the Lyme disease, I don't wish that on anybody, folks. I think he even touches on kind of like, well, what's better? Almost poses like, is it just better to die than suffer?
one more, unproductive and immobile. What's the next thing that brings the most to mankind? People die and are cremated, and your pain is just 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, or 6 months. What about a bunch of disabled people? I asked the scientist. The scientist said, Miles, you're thinking very carefully. I said, think about it. You suffer when people die. You suffer more when you live. You might as well be dead. When a loved one dies, you suffer for the rest of your life. It's left to you. I said,
wow.
What if people are still alive? People are lying there. What to do? Do you save or not to save them? What about the society? He said, Miles, you think too well. The vaccine researchers have already given you an early idea. The next thing is to have a way to make you immortalize how to die. And that has all the next steps planned. He said, don't worry. After the third vaccination, if the vaccine is not stopped, an antidote of sorts will appear right away. The antidote makes people take it, basically. For some people, the so-called antidote is what keeps you alive, what is needed to keep you alive. For others, the so-called antidote is something that requires you to die, to take it and die. They tell you tomorrow that the side effects of what you eat can kill you. Do you recognize it? Yes, you do. You admit it and you sign it, you take responsibility. If you take it, you'll be dead. If you're dead, no one will complain anymore, right? You're dead, you've disappeared. Who are you going to sue, right? Those who survived were lucky. I survived on the antidote. And the rest were a sea of praise. I survived. It's all part of the plan.
It's wild. It just is what it is, folks. Now, I love you. I don't mean for this to be overbearing and gloomy and negative. It's just like we can't forget what just happened and what's continually happening, because they're continually threatening, and we're uncovering throughout this pandemic and whatnot. We were finding more bioweapons labs right here in California, all over the states, in Ukraine, all over the world. So undoubtedly, evil's like scrambling, and you see Bill Gates and all the other it's a grave threat, this not just gain of function, but biowarfare. And there's something too, and we'll dive into some of it here shortly. There's something to the frequencies. And I've personally felt that, and I have my own testimonials on that. And it's kind of wild because I'm actually gaining some breakthroughs with my Lyme, bringing more function, like cognitively and energy, but like even life and enjoyment. It's like I've lost a lot of the luster, the things I like, just the day to day even, or anything. But it's like I'm getting, I mean, it's wild. It's just such a breath of fresh air when things have just turned off. I don't know, for lack of better words, when you start feeling, I guess, endorphins or like dopamine again. And I truly feel like it's a level of biowarfare, it's a level of toxicity and poisons, and it's a level of frequencies. So it's like we got to address a lot of things, but together we could really clean it up. And I'm excited. I'm excited to do my part. And I hope that I can breathe light and excitement and simple calls to action so we can really move the ball down the field in all these different arenas together. Help us achieve that. And by you being here and listening, God bless you. Thank you. In a huge way, you're doing your part. This is a fun little cartoon. How to prevent the next pandemic. It's got a fat Bill Gates frowny face behind bars with a 666 number. I mean, these people are demonic. It is insane. I mean, that man, even after being charged, was befriending Epstein. What? So, let's prevent the next pandemic. Let's get him. Fauci. Nuremberg 2.0. Everyone that was like part of pushing that. Media. It's up to us, folks. Just to touch on some of the satanic now, or the evil that's being done. And this is going to have to be other episodes because there's going to have to be some heavy disclaimers in regards to all of this. And there is a level of importance. When you connect these dots, it can fire people up and just be like, you know what? What does it matter about my job anymore when it comes to children, when it comes to some of the things, how they're trying to normalize pedophilia? I mean, it's important to challenge ourselves. Like, we can't be ignorant about it. However, I do feel there's more responsibility in for men to champion this than our women. So I don't want to put that out too much and disrupt peace, because I view women as just more sacred, beautiful. I mean, men and women are just different in the most beautiful of ways. More so women than men, but this will just be some icebreakers on it, and we will come out with some more full-blown episodes. I got a whole bunch of content I was even debating putting in here, but this one's pretty simple. And I don't know if you guys saw The Sound of Freedom, but Jim Caviezel has been championing this narrative for quite some time. And this was an event where he spoke out on things just a little bit. So let's play this clip.
You said a word a minute ago, and I want to clarify what that word was, because you said a word, and I want to make sure that you said adrenochrome.
Yeah.
And a lot of people here, there's about 4,500 people here. There's about 500,000 people streaming online. We're having some cyber attacks. That feed's been going on and off. But you said that word, and by a show of hands, who's heard that word before in this building? Could you please explain, to the extent that you want to or not want to, what that is? Because some people have never heard that before, and we need to discuss that.
Essentially, you have adrenaline in your body. I'll just simplify it. And when you are scared, you produce adrenaline. If you're an athlete, you get in the fourth quarter, you have adrenaline that comes out of you. If a child knows he's going to die, his body will secrete this adrenaline, and they have a lot of terms that they use that he takes me through. But it's the worst horror I've ever seen, is screaming alone, even if I never, ever saw it. It's beyond, and these people that do it, there'll be no mercy for them. And when at that point where I have tears coming out of my eyes because my heart is so on fire, I'm fearless. You're fearless. You're the best that you will ever be when God is in your heart like that.
Wow.
And when it's burning, you're fearless, and you're not afraid of the devil. You actually hunt him.
Right.
And any of them that are little children in the film,
let's hunt the devil.
There's a line in there where he says, why are you doing this? And I say to him, as Tim said, because God's children are not for sale. They're not for sale. You can't do it anymore, Satan. And we're coming after you. And I'm not afraid, and I'd ask you all not to be afraid either, because they're worth saving.
They're giving you a standing ovation right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
What a great man. We cannot afford to live selfishly right now in this wartime. We just can't. Once again, it's just not a luxury. This post here, fact or fiction? It's the Johnny Depp, what is it called? Fear and Loathing film. Hollywood's favorite drink. Adrenochrome. They've projected this in so many films. So it's not just Hollywood. You should, this goes so deep. And is so, like, it's sick. I'm at a loss for words a bit right now, because I'm trying to play things out in my mind, like connecting things in the most effective ways to open our eyes. Like, okay, the government openly will misguide and lie to us. Use every tool at its disposal to do so, and we are paying for that. That's why we gotta, like, calls to action once again, like freedomlawschool.org, or go to stewpeters.com and watch the Slave Nation, because it gives that information. But it's just, it's a lot to connect. I should take a break and go do some jumping jacks or something. I've had a really good day. I feel like I'm firing almost on all cylinders, maybe a little rust in the gears, and then here I am, like, just kind of tripping up. And I apologize for that, because I owe you. You deserve better than this. And I'm fighting tooth and nail to get there. Okay, let's play this quickly.
Kind of hotel, room 1600, please. As your attorney, I advise you to take a hit out of the little brown bottle in my shaving kit. You won't need much. Just a tiny taste.
So disturbing.
What is this shit? That stuff makes pure mescaline seem like ginger beer, man. Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome?
It's crazy. It's right out there in the open, folks. Oh, that doesn't say anything. The ones I could play here do. The connections, like there's indisputable facts that implicate not just Hollywood, but government, elites, all the ones that were behind, like the same people and organizations that were behind pushing the jab in your arms. I mean, it's all freaking connected, folks. It's mind-blowing. Okay, well, let's transition out of that into health, what we can do, protecting ourselves, because, okay, that's important, right? We're connecting the dots on biowarfare. We're connecting the dots on the war being waged. Who's kind of behind it, right? Well, let's transition into how we could up our resilience. Because with the subtle little breakthroughs I'm looking around and I really feel there's barriers to tear down even for the healthiest among us. Because we live in a very toxic state for optimal function. Okay. So with that, Gary Brecka's been on fire. Let's listen to what he's got to say here. This is pretty good stuff.
How many of you actually believe in the universal law of attraction? Okay. So I didn't for 22 years because I'm a scientist. My background is in clinical research and mortality, so I didn't believe in that law until one day I was studying a law in physics. You're welcome to look this up. It's called constructive interference. Constructive interference. It's a law in physics that is as valid as the law of gravity. What constructive interference says is that if two frequencies of equal wavelength meet, the size of the frequency doubles. That's a fact. Which means that you can get energy from conversation. You can get energy from other people. They can also take energy from you. Destructive interference says that if two frequencies of opposite wavelength meet, the size of the wave cancels. Right? We say things like women are more intuitive. You ever heard that? Women are more intuitive. That's not true. Women are more sensitive to frequency. Right? They actually can sense the frequency more aptly than a man. They actually have more brain cells than men. I hate to admit that, but they do. They have more brain cells than the gray matter. That was a clinical study I've been trying to refute for 7 years. Somebody's going to disprove it one day. So when we understand that frequency is emitted from a human being's body, and that frequency has a lot to do with what we attract and what we repel in the universe. As I was reading about this clinical, this valid law, constructive interference, I stumbled on a clinical study called the Spain Scale of Emotion. SPANE stands for the Scale of Positive and Negative Energy. They took 25,000 participants in Germany and they put them inside of something called a Faraday's cage. You know what a Faraday's cage is? It's an area that is devoid of all frequency. There's no microwave, no radio wave. There's no frequency of any kind in there. No EMF, no 5G, nothing. And they measured the frequency that was leaving a human being's body. And they were able to isolate frequency leaving human beings' bodies with such accuracy that they could tell exactly what mood that person was in.
Wow.
Not just that they were angry, but they were in despair, they were jealous, or they were vengeful. They could actually isolate frequencies to that degree. Do you know what the most powerful frequency to leave a human being's body is? Does anybody want to know what the most attractive frequency and the most powerful frequency to leave a human being's body? Anyone want to take a guess? Sex. Sex is not a frequency, that's an act. But we like where your head's at. Okay? Calm Confidence, close. Love is close. This is actually 4 times more powerful than love. Close,
4
joy,
times more
authenticity. Who said that? Right there. Have you seen me speak before? Okay, good. That was awesome. It's the frequency of authenticity.
Authenticity.
It has an amplitude that is so powerful and so attractive that can actually affect the frequency of another human being that you're talking to.
Wow.
Authenticity only happened, and the Spain scale of emotion proved this, when your words are truthful and you believe what you're saying. If your words are not truthful or you do not believe what you're saying, you cannot emanate the frequency of authenticity.
That is powerful stuff. Holy smokes. I can't wait to dive more into all of that, because these dang blinking boxes are emitting frequencies that have been known and scientifically proven to have a negative effect on the human body on like a cellular level. And I could tell already, and just be patient with me, or not, and do your own research on everything. But we're going to get accounts and everything set up through a whole bunch of companies. We're just doing a lot of vetting. But with like the PEMF mats and cancelization machines to frequencies to create like a protect your like home biology, if you will, and create a more natural environment without the bombarding of like negative frequencies. Because I personally feel this has had, and I know it to be true, I genuinely know it to be true. To what extent, that's what's debatable, that's what's questionable. But if you think about it, this has any, I believe this is what is causing us to become way less resilient in a huge way, because I really feel that these devices are triggering us to walk around in more so a fight or flight state. And that's why our relationships have been diminishing, and divorce rates and fights amongst family and friends, and how we're so testy and easily triggered, and defenses go up and more. So I think in a huge way our resilience is just right there because of the frequencies and wavelengths. Because I felt with the mats and the cocoon and certain things, even levels of magnetism, being instantly at peace and calm, like in ways meditation like really couldn't. It would help, and you're like calm in your nervous system, but there's still this onslaught attack from like the negative impacts of these frequencies. And that's actually pretty cool and very an excitable thing that a lot of groups are investing mega bucks in picking out like these frequencies with how like advanced tech's gotten to where they could even like get the frequencies of like private islands with nothing around, like in Hawaii or out in the woods, and grounding, and like there's even light frequencies now that they're tapping into. And a whole nother thing where it's like, I guess the misconception of getting vitamin D from the sun. We don't get vitamin D from the sun at all. But, and this is sciencey, and I'm no scientist, but it's been explained to me. But essentially there's wavelengths and whatever, your body absorbs the rays and it triggers the receptors within your body to produce the vitamin D. Well, I guess with those light wavelengths, there's things that have been created to trigger that within the body. Well, they've taken that even steps further to create things that promote stem cell growth, which is kind of the fountain of youth. Repairs injury, helps fight disease and cancers, eradicates a lot of things, and there's crazy breakthroughs. So stay tuned, support us, click the subscribe. We're going to be doing deep dives on all of that. In fact, I am currently using a lot of these products I've talked to you about. I just can't really talk about it till like I've built my testimony, right? I don't want to jump the gun here, but things are looking promising. I'm having breakthroughs. And I'm so excited. Like, all glory to God. Praise God. I feel like this vulnerability, like this just showing up on the front lines. I mean, there's been grave blessing and it's paying off. And that's why I can be grateful for all these challenges. Because any little breakthrough and understanding, like peace, this is just a beautiful time to be, folks. Oh, let's achieve that all together. All right, more on that. Anyway, just tangents going on. So, this is an important clip. Watch a gun owning Chinese refugee who fled communism obliterate anti-gun activists. David Hogg in 60 seconds. Yeah, let's give this a listen.
Got a chance to ask gun-grabbing anti-freedom activist
Ooh, I have
a
that
question,
really fast.
And this is a career ender.
Welcome to my Be Free or Die state. Actually, I am a Chinese immigrant who survived communism. And under Mao, 40 million people were starving to death. After he sold the communism to them, 20 million people died. So my question to you, David, is that can you guarantee me, a gun owner tonight, our government in the U.S., in D.C., will never become a tyrannical government?
There's no way I can ever guarantee that any government will not be tyrannical.
Well, then the debate on gun control is over because I will never give up my guns. Never. And you should go to China to see how gun control works.
Wow.
Dictatorship.
I don't think you can sum it up any better than that. No one could promise that the government body, like if we were to give up our guns, would never go tyrannical. It's an important question to ask someone that's trying to tyrannically take your guns, because it just exposes what they're trying to do. But we all know, or should know and understand that. And that's why they're pushing gun violence. That's why they're pushing and staging it even. I'm sure more lives will be lost to staging and manipulation, kind of even MK Ultra tactics to push it further and further and fulfill their agenda. All right. 53 minutes in. We'll try to wrap this up soon, folks. But let's get into protecting our health on this one thing that is out of our control to protect ourselves from, like walking around in our daily lives. That's why we must get a stop to it. And I love this post. It's Chemtrail Awareness Month. Look up May 1st through 31st. So let's make this Chemtrail Awareness Month and look up. Now, I don't know. It's interesting. A lot of the talk about chemtrails with people, it seems to be in one ear and out the other. Every now and then I get someone that's inquisitive. And they end up, we share future conversation over it. But I believe there's just some type of disconnect because they're like, well, what are we going to do? Like, just try shooting planes out of the sky? I'm like, well, that's an idea, right? But we collectively we could email our congressmen, state officials, get loud, hold protests, do petitions, make things like this go viral. All post about it, get everyone in the know. And as we see it continue, we will get organized to put an end to it. But it's through the ignorance and the thought of, oh, what difference can I make, that is allowing this, once again, to perpetuate. And this is very alarming to me because, once again, we could do protections to an extent, like with the frequencies to an extent. Best we even address that too and eradicate anything. Like, why do we have to combat signals that are proven harmful to our genetic makeup? And I believe it's intentionally done, because when freaking world leaders say they currently have the technology to control the masses, those dots kind of connect themselves. But there's protections there. There's protections on the water. There's protections on the food to an extent. But the one thing that could deteriorate our resilience is this freaking air. And for whatever reason, if you just aren't on board, you're like, no, this isn't happening. Well, stay freaking tuned. This one clip right here. If geoengineering isn't real and chemtrails and what's happening, then why are states trying to pass legislation to ban it? Okay? It's not conspiracy theory. Here we go.
Borders of the state into the atmosphere. Kentucky, New Hampshire, Minnesota, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, and South Dakota, all introducing similar bills banning geoengineering of the skies. The New York Times reporting that secrecy around the project stems from fears that the public knowledge could lead to criticism and attempts to halt it. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, we're going to stop it. That's the point. Now, as we discussed at the top of the hour, Democrats are drooling over the weapon they were just handed by the Arizona Supreme Court in the borders of the state into the atmosphere. Kentucky.
All right. That pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? Oh, no, not enough for you? All right, well, listen to this one. Because everyone needs to be asking these same questions. This is a must watch. People are getting sick and dying. It's the actual outcome and result of rainwater testing. So many people aren't even aware as to the high levels of these carcinogenic toxins. It's been happening for years, folks. Ugh.
And I understand that this is a federal issue. I understand that from speaking to the governor's office, that they cannot or will not even make a statement about this. My question is, have you tested the rainwater? And if you haven't, have you seen the results of our rainwater tests? And also, are you aware that many of the people sitting in this room right here have very high levels of barium, aluminum, and strontium in their blood? People are getting sick and dying. And we want the ADEQ not just to give us a little speech today, but actually to maybe perhaps speak out against it if you know it's going on. And if not, I would suggest you do a lot more investigation.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for years. So I'd like a comment on, one, the rainwater, what's in it, and two, what's in our blood. And if it's not coming from geoengineering, is it your responsibility to investigate that and tell us where it is coming from? Thank you.
100%. More action like that. Just steps in the right direction. You never, do not discredit the impact you could have. You could make a couple calls today. You could send a couple emails. Heck, we could start creating things together to make it more efficient and do a lot of the heavy lifting. Like another call to action. Can someone put together something and then the list, and let's get the list sent out so people could copy, paste, put their name. There's so much we could do, folks. Help us do that. Whatever a muzzled chat can do to help get that out there and maximize your efforts, we are here. There are hundreds of examples where samples of soil, water, and human blood have been analyzed and reveal abnormal levels of the below. It's all metallic substances. And it's the same things you watch those documentaries. Like it connects all those dots, and it's from the spray. Wild picture. Clouds is an adult. Clouds is a child. I mean, you could just see it. That's not natural. That's not a contrail, folks. It's just not. Right here's a clip. Why is the sky triggering metal detectors? I'm no expert in metal detectors, but is this normal? Because that's not a naturally cloudy sky, and it's coming down. So this is just crazy. They're just a whole bunch of people getting their metal detectors, assembling, putting them in the sky. It's not natural. You can hear the metal detectors going off. Chemtrails in their skies, graphene, nanoparticles, aluminum, barium, heavy metals, chem web fibers, human plasma, bacteria, causes Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, are strongly related to exposure to environmental aluminum. It's not good for us. It's not good for our animals. It's not good for plant life. I don't know. You can connect this or not, but they're just stating, oh, the logo makes sense now because the CDC has all them pinstripes in the blue sky, and it just eerily mimics the actual picture of this sky with chemtrails. All right, let's play this guy.
This is all man-made cloud, poison chemicals, complement of the United Nations spray program.
Yeah. He did a time lapse. If I go to the beginning, it shows some of the
That's United Nations aerosol injection.
Some of the chemtrails, and then how it's widening, spreading, and then it's hazing over, and then it's totally man-created.
G5 radiation.
Unbelievable. Folks, that's a grave threat. Because that will poison food, water, the air, the things we're touching. I don't want to deal with all time. Like, once again, like, that's going to diminish our resilience. So, lots to figure out here. I just want to sound the alarm on things so we all can. It takes a village to address all these things so we can really put our heads together and clear the path on the most effective things, but we could start ruling these things out. I mean, this is crazy. Like, it just shows the hoax and everything. Interviewer: a new study shows the world's richest 1% account for more carbon emissions than the poorest 66%.
The world's richest 1% account for more carbon emissions than the poorest
Bill Gates.
66%. What responsibility do you think the super rich have to act in a sustainable way as we see
POS.
so many of these climate impacts falling on the backs of the world's poor?
Yeah, so, I spend about $9 million a year, so I'm buying...
I don't want to hear his crap. I don't even want to hear his crap. I'm over it. Now, I found this little clip interesting. It's a pastor speaking out, because a lot of Christians are like, Israel's God's chosen people. And I'm just thinking, geographically, is that what you're saying that? Like, because I'm like, aren't we all God's chosen people? Is anyone who believes in God and Jesus like chosen? Like you know, I'm seeking clarity and understanding, and I believe he biblically references, and this is pretty lengthy too, what he goes over, and I'm seeking more of this to get understanding, and it breathes some peace in my heart that, yeah, like there's no geographic like chosen people. It's not a geographical spot. It's, in my eyes, not even a lineage. All right, let's listen to what he has to say.
You know, these are all truths that are pillars in the New Testament. And so when people, you know, lay claim to genealogy, it just reminds me, and I'll read a text and then I'm sure you've got plenty to say. In Matthew chapter 3, verse 7, it says, when John the Baptist saw many of the Pharisees and the Sadducees come to his baptism, he said to them, O generation of vipers, who has warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Bring forth, therefore, fruits meet for repentance, and do not think to say within yourselves, we have Abraham as our father. So John said, don't even think that you can lay claim to favoritism in the sight of God because of your genealogy. And then he said, for I say to you that God is able of these stones to raise up children to Abraham. And now the axe is laid to the root of the trees. Therefore, every tree which does not bear good fruit is cut down and cast into the fire. And I can show you many New Testament texts along these lines that physical genealogy is worthless. What counts is faith in God and in Jesus and an experience with him and bearing the fruits.
I like that. That makes sense. So even for some Christians I know that just blindly, I mean, they haven't even done the research. Like, have you looked at DNA? Have you read like these individuals are, you know, people in Israel, or like do you even know? Like, so once again, that doesn't even matter, because when you look at those biblical references, it's not about genealogy. So there is no favoritism. And that just brought peace to my heart. And that's where I feel, let's not get lost with a lot of the things that are being pushed to create, I don't know, wars, division, evil, essentially. Okay, we're a bit long here, folks. I know this kind of just seems like a lot. One step at a time. We got this. We must continue. We can't lie to ourselves. We must continue to expose evil and evil's evil agenda and war tactics, and how they're effectively diminishing our cognitive state and our resilience and abilities to even acknowledge and recognize the real issues at hand and the battle tactics playing out each and every day. We must expose it and see it for what it is, so we can properly combat it and defend ourselves and, protect ourselves and knock this crap out. And as we do that through unity, man, it's just going to get better, brighter, and more beautiful. I hope and pray that all of you find breakthroughs like I've been experiencing. It is incredible. And I can't wait to share more of the details and specifics for you guys to even try for yourselves. I hope we get to a point we could be blessed enough to even lend stuff out to where, because I get when there's so many options out there, you can't just sit there and roll the dice on everything, especially like financially these days, with the intentional war tactic of hyperinflating the dollar to having us suffer to where we're just so like we don't even have the bandwidth now to show up for the war because it's like it's all we could do to keep food on our tables. I mean, it's all intentionally being done. So it would be really great to get some of these products to where people can be lent out, they could feel it for themselves, and make an actual educated decision as to, wow, this is an investment worth doing because my productivity, everything's going to go up. So stay tuned. Guys, God bless you. Thank you so much. I really feel like I'm about to breach a corner here and hopefully really catch a stride and do you better serving you with just clearer calls to action, clearer steps forward on health and wellness and unity. And just like Gary Brick was talking about, I really hope to do it in a frequency or in a way that like speaks to you, uplifts you, like charges you up, not leaving you depleted. Anyway, God bless you. We will talk. Well, I'll be seeing you soon. Take care.